the IFMAR 2014 112 scale modified world's title. Welcome to the 2015 Motorama. At our starting grid, we've got Dustin, Kyle, Sam, Matt, and Favre, and Dennis. Then this is our stock truck A main as they go over the doubles in the front straightaway and down through the short chute, or in other forms of racing is called a dog leg, over to the back straightaway where they meet up with the triples down through the infield over the tabletop. We still have Dustin in the lead, followed by Kyle, followed by Sam in third place, Matt in fourth place. Kim Pye is in fifth place with Dennis Pugh in the sixth place as they come back over the tabletops and around through the chicane, over the doubles into the front, around through the short chute. We see that the drivers are driving a stock truck, and a stock truck in radio control is the beginning level that you want to begin with, either a stock truck or a stock buggy. These vehicles have shorter wheelbases, and the track width of the front tires from the driver's side tire over to the passenger side tire is a shorter width, so it is pretty much a challenge to keep these vehicles straight, to keep these vehicles applying traction to the surface of the track. And as we look here, the trucks are going through the infield. We still have Dustin in the lead with Kyle following up close behind, and the two front runners are pulling away from the pack slightly. That's not to say that the packs will not catch up to them later on. Everybody's trying to find their rhythm, and in the back of the pack we have here Kim Pye just tries to go over the doubles in the front straightaway, and his rear axle clips the top of the second double, which flips him over. He needs a marshal. As we continue in the race, everybody is getting their rhythm together. They're trying to time the jumps and find out where the ruts are on the track and avoid as many ruts as possible. As we go back down to the count in the situation here, we see that Dustin is still holding the lead, but Kyle is not willing to let go of his opportunities to close that gap, and a lot can happen. This is the early stages of the race. Guys are just finding out where their vehicle is and trying to stay within the means of the vehicle as they go over the doubles in the front, and they make that hairpin turn. They enter into what is the dog leg or the short. Oh, we got a tie up there between Dennis and Kim Pye as they enter into the tabletops. They're going through there, and now they're back on their rhythms. These guys are really fighting for this championship. This is a prestigious event and trophy. People come from all over the country every year. This is an annual race event. It's one of the largest RC racing venues and coveted events, the trophy on the East Coast. Track conditions are good. It used to be back in the day when I was driving radio control cars, there was a lot of dust flinging around, but now they have honed the track construction into the point where it's almost like running on an asphalt. But getting back to the race, we still have Dustin and Kyle leading in the front. They've opened up a 6-second gap to second place, which is still Sam, Otto, and Matt Favre, and they are the blue and green car, and the orange and white car. Kim Pye is in the red, white, and blue, as Dustin is in the blue-green vehicle, which is in the lead, followed by Kyle, who is in the white. As the battle continues, we're coming to the midway portion of the race, and as the drivers are driving, they're getting fatigued. Their fingers, their eyes are getting teary, and you can see the result here as there's an accident coming over the double-doubles in the front. A horrific crash, and I don't know how he could sustain that crash with his vehicle and still maintain the lead, but these vehicles are very durable. As the race continues, we've got Dustin, excuse me, I made a mistake there. That wasn't Dustin that did that mistake. That was Matt Favre, who's in the back of the pack. He's in the 4th position. So Dustin is the solid blue truck in the front, and he's usually followed by the white truck, who is Kyle. As the drivers are coming to the latter stages of the race, everyone has pretty much found out where they're going to be, and drivers are just trying to maintain consistency. Consistency is how you win one of these races. And when you've got a guy like Dustin, who's been racing for over a number of years, to be followed by a guy named Kyle Witt, who is new on the scene. None of us are familiar with him, but we see that he is an outstanding young man as they continue to battle at the front of the pack. In the rear, everything is pretty much as it started out. None of the drivers have broken out or crashed out at this stage, which is a good thing, which is a testament to the caliber of race car driver. Although they are in the back of the pack in maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th position, all of these guys get a offer for sponsorship because they have made the A main, which is the best of the best, the top 10 drivers in that region, and in some cases in the country. Sometimes we have drivers that come from Canada, drivers that come from Australia, drivers that come from Japan, so you could classify them, and I would go as far as saying the top drivers in the top 20 drivers in the world. I would classify them as that. As we come to the latter stages of the race, we can still see here that Dustin Dale is in the lead with Kyle Witt closing, and now Matt Favre has taken over 3rd place over Sam Otto, as Kim Pye and Dennis Pugh are still in 5th and 6th position. As they come down the straightaway there, Dustin is running into lap traffic. He gets around Dennis Pugh as they going into the double-doubles on the front straightaway, down through the hairpin to the dog leg, through the short chute, and entering into the triples on the back straightaway. All of the drivers at this point know that it's time to put up or shut up. This is the exciting portion of the race. If you make a mistake here, you could lose a viable position, and in the closing stages of the race, trying to gather back that position is next to possibly impossible for some of these guys. All the drivers are gathering back together as Dustin runs into lap traffic. Hopefully he'll get through the lap traffic. These guys run for 8 minutes. This is an 8-minute A main, and they also have triple A mains. And as you'll see the points are accumulated, 100 points per race, and each time you get more points added for your position, for TQing and things of that nature. Everybody seems to be in the zone at this point. That's why you don't see too many crashes, but nevertheless, it's still an exciting race. Let's just enjoy some of the footage. You got Matt Favre and Kim Pye and Dennis Pugh fighting it out for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Those are the vehicles that are the light green, the white and the orange, and the red, white, and blue. Back at the front, we still have Dustin driving the bluish purple car, and the reason why I say bluish purple because he has one of those paint combinations that changes colors according to how much light hits the body. So at some points he looks like he's purple, others he looks like he's blue, but he's followed by Kyle in the second position, who is holding it down, and this might be the way that the two of them end the race. And we'll just see some little changes back in the pack. It seems as though these two guys have set their vehicles up, they're consistent on their qualifying times, which in turn translates into them remaining in their position. It's hard to pass a guy unless somebody actually makes a mistake. The track conditions are good, your tires and your batteries are sponsored equipment. Your equipment is good, so pretty much it's up to human error, driver error, to determine who's going to win one of these events. And also a little bit of luck. Whenever you're in competition in sports, there's always the element of luck. And as I just speak about luck, we just see that Kyle has sort of caught one of the triples on the back straightaway wrong, which has allowed Dustin to stretch his gap in the front. Oh, there's Dennis. Dennis Pugh is having a difficult. I keep calling that truck Dennis, but I'm sorry, that there is Matt Favre. Matt Favre has been struggling with the jumps today, and usually that comes from a lack of traction or the improper gearing between the pinion and the spur, which disallows him to have enough torque to enter into the triple, which causes him to fall short, and that's why you saw that spectacular crash. Well, we've got 5 seconds to go, and Dustin Dale is still in the lead with Kyle following up in second. Dustin wins it. Kyle is second. Favre is third. Dennis is 4. Sam is 5th. Kim is 6th. Rick is 7th. Mark is 8th. David is 9th. And Tom is 10th.
Welcome to Dialed In RC, a DialedInTV.com production. I'm your host, the RC Guru. It has been a fabulous day here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at the 2015 Motorama Off-Road Indoor Champions. And the funny thing about it is that this gentleman here, Mr. Steve Hartman, he won this award 2 years ago and followed it up with a World IFMAR title. Mr. Steve Hartson, it's good to have you back in the show. How have you been?
Been good. Racing a lot.
Okay, how was your race today as far as, was it really trying? Did you have to exert yourself, or did it just come naturally into your hand?
The mains went better than I thought. I qualified kind of bad. But overall, at the end, the mains were good. A lot of people were crashing, so I got by those guys. And in the end, I ended up second in two-wheel drive and third in four-wheel drive. So it didn't go too bad. I could have probably done better, but...
Well, you know, look, it's a lot that goes with racing. You got to get set up. You got to get a little bit of luck going with it. With your setup today, did you just slightly miss the setup, or what do you think was the cause of the difficulty in finding the setup?
I think the setup was okay. Just mostly the tires, I think, were a little bit off. But in the end, I think we figured the tires out at the end, and it would have been better if we figured it out in practice, but it was okay at the end.
You're the type of driver that a person can never count out. You always have an extra burst at the end of a race where you begin to like say, well, the chips are down. This is where you make your money at 1.5 minutes left to go in a race. Is that sort of your character, your persona? Is that how you race all the time? Because I've seen you do it over and over.
I try to drive the same throughout the whole race. It kind of seems like at the end, most people are crashing because they're trying to pass other guys at the end for the lead. I just kind of keep driving the same way and eventually end up going around them just because of consistency, I would think. But yeah, I just try to drive the same all the time.
Now, you were sitting here with me 2 years ago, and you took home one of the trophies. And I stated to you, I said, Steve, you drove a command performance race. I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you would win the Worlds. And it just seemed so happy. It was almost as though it was predicted.
Yeah.
You turned around in less than a year's time. You went to the World's Championship after being, you've gone there, 2, 3, 4 times?
Yeah.
And you just turned around. This sort of catapulted you right into your IFMAR world title. How has your life changed since the winning of that title?
Not a whole lot's changed. I have a little different mindset now after I won the Worlds. My sponsors have kind of stepped up and gave me a little bit more to kind of help me, just kind of be better in racing. And it's helped a lot since then. A little bit of struggle since then, but I think I'm back to where I can win some racing now.
How do your peers, now that and you're a humble guy, now that you're carrying the IFMAR world title, how has your peers changed? Because you haven't changed. I can tell your interview is just as stellar as it was 2 years ago. Your demeanor and everything's the same.
Yeah, the racers around me kind of treat me a little bit different now. Since I won, but I kind of try to not listen to them and kind of focus on my own, thing going on. But that's definitely changed. Yeah.
So you're carrying momentum now. If you have a race car driver that has, won major events in the last 2.5 years, it appears that, do you feel that your game has risen to another level now that you have the world title behind you?
That's kind of a hard thing to answer, just because I try not to think about winning the Worlds when I'm racing, because it's almost like I have nothing better to prove now that I won the biggest race, ever. And so I try not to think about that. Just try to think about winning, each and every race that I'm at. And that seems to kind of work the best for me.
So where are you going from here?
Well, I'm going to Japan this next year to try to defend my title. Going to the Yutaba track in Japan.
Oh yeah, I like that track.
Other than that, I go to a lot of races every year. Just try to do as best as I can at those.
Well, Mr. Hartson, I don't want to take up more of your time. I really am honored to have you stay for the show. I know it was a little bit extra for you. You're a great man, and I wish you the very best in the future. And I look forward to having more opportunities to sit down and talk with you about radio control.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. This has been Dialed In RC, DialedInTV.com production. I'm the RC Guru. This is your IFMAR World Champion, and today he's a top 3 finisher in the 4-wheel drive modified, pro modified class, Mr. Steve Hartson. Booyah!
Welcome back. It's short course time. Our starting gate is Steve Davis, Greg Sowell, Will Burton, Carl Horton, Samai Lee, Richie Seals, Bud Moore, Jamie Lowe, Chaz, and Brett. And there they go, through the front straight, down around the 180 into the dog leg. These guys are going bananas as they come through the triple in the back, on the back stretch. Somebody goes over the rail and they're into the infield over the tabletops. And as we come through the tabletops around on the first lap, we have Steve Davis in the lead with Greg Sowell and Bill Benton following up. Steve Davis comes around over the front, over the chicane, over into the doubles in the front straightaway. Let's get some air time, baby. Back around the 180 in through the dog leg, back out, heading on into the back straightaway through the triples. We have in the lead, it is, Steve Davis made a fumble, and now Greg Sowell takes over the lead as they go through the tabletops on the infield. Greg Sowell leads the pack as they enter back around to the short chute, coming back through the chicane, entering into the doubles in front of the driver's stand. Up and there they go, around the 180 and entering into the dog leg, or the short chute for some of you who race in other forms of racing, heading out to the back straightaway, which is held by the triples. You gotta have enough motor to make the triples happen for your truck. You gotta have the right motoring and the right gearing, and as the pack comes through the tabletops on the infield, it is Greg Sowell leading. Oh, we've got a change. We've got Carl taking over second place, and Lee is in the third place, with Steve falling back to fourth place. Will is on a ballistic tour as they go back through the dog leg, coming out of the 180. The field is starting to stretch out a little bit. Back down through the dog leg, headed on over to the triples. Greg just takes the triples with a double and then a single rather than triples all together as they go back through the infield on the tabletops. Everybody is just panning out. It is a mantic race here. These guys are just going like all over places. As Greg comes in, he's riding the inside of the pipes as he goes. Oh yeah, we've got Lee who has taken over second place. Greg is the guy with the white and purple truck, and Lee is the guy with the pink and purple truck. Richie Seals has the red truck, and Will, the red truck with the yellow stripe, is Richie Seals. Will Benton has the full red truck, and Steve Davis has the multicolored orange, green, and purple truck. As they enter back down the back straightaways into the triples, Greg goes through. He's stretching out his gap on Carl and Lee, who's in second and third place, as the rest of the guys are still battling for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. As it looks like right now, for some reason or another, Will has had a catastrophic failure. He's out of the race. That's your red truck is out of the race. As the race continues, we see Carl Horton just did a bicycle coming out of the 180 into the dog leg. That did a bicycle over there. Somebody was doing a bicycle over there. That was Carl's truck, the white and green stripe truck. Did a bicycle coming out of the 180 heading into the dog leg. That's awesome. And then maintain. As we go back down through the infield, headed over to the tabletops, the position is still Greg in the lead as the rest of the pack is just following. Watch the freight car, guys. Watch the train car doors as they lead back down through the front doubles and through the 180, out of the 180 into the dog leg, headed on to the back straight where you got the triples, double, triples, or doubles and single. But some people, and then we come on to the infield with the tabletop, and we still have Greg holding it down. But we're coming to the middle stages of the race, and it looks like Lee has closed the gap. Lee is the guy with the blue and red truck, or it would be let's say a fluorescent pink with a little bit of purple, maybe you would call it that. I don't know what that color is, but that's what it looks like. And they're heading back around, and it seems as though Lee is closing the gap on Greg. Greg had better hold on to that there pistol grip. Hold on and squeeze the trigger, Greg, because you got Lee coming up on you quickly. Ooh, they're closing in over the tabletops, back around through the short shoe straightaway, over through the chicane, down over to the double. Oh! Greg has turned over, and did it go on the inside, headed over the 180, coming down through the short shoe of the dog leg, and who comes out on front? Greg is still holding it down just a little bit, but boy is Lee on his tail as they enter back through the tabletops of the infield. Lee still carries the lead. Greg still carries the lead, but Lee is close behind as they go back over the chicane and down through the doubles, back through the 180, over through the dog leg, headed back to the triples on the back straightaway. The rest of the guys on the infield seems like the two leaders are catching up, and there they go. They're nose to bumper as Lee goes on the inside and takes over Greg in the tabletops, and Greg takes him back on the short shoe. Oh, Greg turns over. Lee is a good racer. He waits for Greg as though, and now they go back through the 180, out of the 180 into the dog leg. As they go back down to the back straightaway, let's see who's going to enter the straightaway first. It's going to be Lee. Lee has taken the lead over Greg in the dog leg. Greg must have got tied up on the pipe as they go through the tabletop. Lee is in the lead. Greg is close in pursuit. They enter back through the short shoe, heading into the straightaway, into the chicane. It is Lee. It is Greg. It is Greg. It is Lee. It's Lee over the doubles, and then down into the 180, heading into the dog leg. Out of the dog leg is Lee with a commanding. He's stretching out a gap on Greg at this point in time. Greg's motor must be overheating, or perhaps maybe his battery is starting to dump on him. But it appears that Lee, in the pinkish color and purple truck, is expanding his gap on Greg, who led for a majority of this race. Boy, this is going to be a close one. We're going to see if Lee can hold on to that lead as they are fastly approaching traffic. They're coming up on lap traffic, and you can see Greg is just doing everything he can to stay with it and keep Lee within his sight. But the clock is running out. They're coming down to 10 seconds to go, with Lee still leading, entering into the chicane. And the clock has ended. Finish your laps, gentlemen. It is a victory for Lee, and Greg is his in second place, and Will is falling out. Carl Horton is in third. Samai Lee is in fourth. Richie Seals is in fifth. Jamie Lowe is in sixth.